harbor seals here this afternoon?
Yeah, so the animal that's on deck under the awning over there is, looks like it's Barney. And Barney is about 32 years old. He was actually born here. All of our marine mammals and birds were either rescued from the wild and deemed non-releasable, which is how they came to live in a zoo or aquarium, or they're offspring of non-releasable animals. So Barney, again, was born here, again, 32 years ago. The youngest animal is in the middle there, just went under the water, and he'll pop up in a second. That is Hogan. He's about 4 years old and was born at Point Defiance Zoo, just an hour south of here. And his father is Q, the animal I'm bringing on deck.
I'm live.
Q's about 18 years old. He was also born in a zoo, and he went down to Point Defiance for a few years on breeding lines. So.
And Q and Barney are both full grown. I think last I checked, Q here was about 230 pounds or so.
Yep.
So definitely pretty good, getting a good look at them. And they are pretty different than like maybe sea lions, which people might be more familiar with, aren't they?
Yeah, so their body style is very different. We get asked that a lot. What's the difference between a harbor seal, like a true seal, and a sea lion, which is a different type of seal called a crawling seal? So a harbor seal and other relatives that have similar body shape, you're going to notice, good, they are going to have, here, hang on just a second. Yeah, they're going to have a nice streamlined body like this. They're going to have fairly short flippers, both in front and in the rear. But the main thing that you're going to look for is if they can rotate those hind limbs underneath them. Sea lion, northern fur seals, animals with that body type can actually rotate underneath them and walk like, say, a dog.
Yeah, they're pretty comfortable out of land. That is, sea lions are. You'll see our northern fur seals climbing all the way up their rockwork. These guys are a little bit more awkward on land, aren't they?
Yes, I'll see if Q feels like following me a little bit. Come here, buddy. So this is top speed on land. In the water, both types of seals are very fast. Another difference would be a true seal, like Q here, is going to use his rear limbs to propel himself through the water versus sea lions. And again, like Alex said, our northern fur seals up top there use their front flippers to propel themselves.
And now we're doing a lot of work in here with our harbor seals today. As you were just trying to get him to stay still, you had that white cross up for him.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the kinds of training that we do here at Seattle Aquarium.
Yeah, so everything that we focus on here as an educational and sort of research facility, we want to do things that are either natural behaviors for the animal, good, so we can demonstrate for you guys what that looks like. So, for example, walking on deck or swimming a perimeter. They already know how to do that. But a lot of the stuff that we work on is for their own health care. And I wanted to point out what Mariko's working on over there. She's actually blindfolding Barney, which is kind of interesting. And I haven't actually explained this out loud before, so we'll see how well I do. But the reason she's doing that is so that we can train our animals to sort of communicate, or they can understand our communication without seeing. So if for some reason he were to lose his eyesight as an older animal, it's actually it's not uncommon for that to happen. We want to be able to still check him out medically and do a lot of those behaviors like roll on your side so we can examine you, open your mouth so we can brush your teeth. She's sort of retraining him how to do those behaviors so that he's not reliant on his eyesight. He can still see right now, but we want to be able to communicate with him in various ways. That can be visual cues. You'll see our hand movements a lot. It can be audio, actually hearing what we say. It could be tactile, so you'll notice when she's actually asking him to roll over, she may use her wrist or a flick through the whiskers so that he senses that. So it's just another form of communication.
Hey, you can see Mariko doing that right now with that target, moving it to the side to get him to roll over. So some pretty cool work that we're doing with them. And it looks like you are checking out Q's teeth here. Now, harbor seals, and like most seals and sea lions, they don't chew their food, do they?
You know, they don't. Good boy. They are more grab and gulp. So they will grab their food and then swallow it whole. So if it's a large salmon or something like that, they're going to grab it, thrash it around into whole swallowable chunks.
And that's here at the aquarium, it's not a big deal. Everything that they're going to be getting is going to be food, but out in the wild, that's not always true. And because they're that grab and go predator, if they think something is food, they might just sort of swallow it without quite realizing what they're doing. Isn't that right?
That is true. So here we want to make sure that we're keeping everything nice and clean for them, so there's no foreign objects or anything like that in their exhibit.
Oh, I know.
And we'll actually train them to retrieve foreign objects. So these guys have the luxury of us looking out for them every day and being able to clean their environment.
Of course, out in the wild, they pretty much target things that are shiny. So around here in Puget Sound, and we do have a sizable population of harbor seals here in Puget Sound, they're going to be eating things like young salmon, herring, mackerel maybe during the summer, and those are pretty shiny fish. And if they see something else in the water that happens to be shiny, whether it's a plastic water bottle or a bag of chips that got blown into the water, they're just as likely to try and eat that as they are their actual food. And of course, that can be pretty problematic for the animals out there, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, before we wrap up, if we got a few minutes, I'm going to see if there are any questions out here. So I've got to come through this door. And if you've got a question about our harbor seals or any of the training that we do, raise your hand up high. I will come to you.
Oh, dude.
Any
So
questions
beautiful.
at all?
Here's a little exercise for you.
Well, so maybe we can talk about that. There was a nice jump, and that is something that is actually a multi-purpose kind of tool, isn't it?
It is. So it definitely demonstrates how agile these guys are and how fast they can swim through the water. Again, Barney's about 200 pounds, so pretty impressive. It also is very useful for us if we are training a blood draw, which is actually something these guys all work on, a voluntary blood draw. So just like when we go to the doctor, we may need to give blood. We can't communicate that to these guys very easily, so we want to train it and make it as positive as possible. And sometimes it can be hard to find a vein on them. So if we get them a chance to work out a little bit, we can find that vein a little easier. Sort of like when you pump your fist at the doctor.
Yeah, it should be mentioned if anybody stuck their fingers in our touch pools, water temperature right now is 46 degrees. Our harbor seals have a pretty nice layer of blubber to help keep them warm. But that can make it tough to find a vein, couldn't it?
Yeah, and they're great at shunting their blood. These guys have amazing adaptations for deep diving. And that's one of the things they do is constrict that a little bit.
Excellent. Well, if nobody out here has any other questions... Oh, I see a question right over there. Let me come down to you if you've got time, Julie.
Yeah.
See that?
Cool. So, right here in Purple Jacket, what's your question? That's an excellent question. So, Julie, how long does it take to train a harbor seal? Maybe for just like 1 or 2 behaviors?
Yes, so obviously, as I'm sure you know, if it's really complicated, like a long layout for a long time, so we're going to take your blood and it's not going to be scary, that can take months. If it's something pretty quick and it's more of a natural behavior, it can go really fast. We've trained a couple things within a few sessions, meaning we'll come out and feed them several times a day, and we may train during that. That would be considered one session. So if it's something like, I don't know, opening your mouth, that's something that we might be able to do pretty quick because they open their mouth to get their food, so we can build on that behavior that's already there. Things like that. So, and it also depends on the animal. Barney, who's 32, takes a long time. We've worked on things for years. He hasn't finished. And then our younger, eager ones that love the training game, sometimes they just pick things up really quick because they like the game. But totally depends. They don't have to train if they don't want to. They're still going to get all their diet. Yeah. There you are. So we're going to wrap up. Thanks for coming, you guys. But I'll be out. So will Mariko and anybody else if you have questions. I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you all for joining us at Seattle Aquarium. Enjoy the rest of your visit, and I'm going to be staying out as well, so if you do have any of those questions, come up and ask, and I've got one question down here which I'm going to start out by answering. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Alright guys, sorry but I'm cutting this. Let's go. Dude, I actually went live on Facebook.
I noticed.